Speaking of great energy, how about Eric Byrnes, okay? Eric Byrnes joining us right now here on Willard and Dibs, 95.7 The Game. What's cooking, Eric? How you doing?
All good, guys. What's going on?
We're just hanging, and we're figuring after 55 games and a 9-2 run and a lot of come-from-behind wins, I sort of figure, there's some leadership that must be going pretty well. Let's talk to somebody who knows what it's like to play for Bob Melvin. And you were the first name that popped to mind. So in your words, what does he bring to the table to his team?
I think first and foremost, consistent in character. And when things were not going well for them in the early going, you could see him get upset. I think probably more than anything, sort of like I challenge my 12-year team from weekend to weekend. And I mean, it was funny because so much of it now, like coaching youth baseball, think back to all the tactics that the managers that I played for, at least the best ones, would use to try to, say, motivate me, but most importantly, right, motivate the team in what worked. And one of the things that Bob was so great at was very subtly kicking you in the ass. And I say that in the sense that he would challenge you essentially to become accountable for your actions. And so if you have an offense that's struggling, he's going to get in there and be like, boys, look, we need better at-bats if it comes to putting the ball in play, moving runners over, making sure we get that guy in from third base in less than 2 outs. Those are the details that he would harp on when I played for him. Those are all the details now that I'm trying to pass on to the next generation. And, ironically, those are the things that win baseball games. I guess this isn't hard. You throw strikes, you put the ball in play, and you play catch. If you could do those three things, the game's actually pretty easy, and the Giants have been doing it well.
What do you do then as a skipper with Marco Luciano, a guy who's been hitting it great with an OPS over 1,000, but you mentioned just play catch. That's the part that's been a struggle for young Marco through his short stint this year with the big club. How do you handle that, Burnsy?
Move him to the outfield. I'm serious. You think I'm kidding? I'm not. I mean, eventually that's where I think he's going to end up. And he's got great actions and certain times and situations, but I'm just not sure that he's going to be able to play shortstop at the big league level for an entire career. Now, you could go back and say, well, Derek Jeter made all these errors when he was in the minor leagues, and he ended up being fine there. A lot of young kids will make errors. The question, the thing that's a bit disconcerting, at least I could just tell you from an outfielder's perspective, because I was a infielder turned catcher turned outfielder. Like there's just certain actions that I've seen that I'm like, man, he'd probably be better served just to be in the outfield, and I'm sure it'd be a lot less stress for him. It's one of those things where, I mean, at this point, you got to get somebody in there late for defense, and you try to ride the hot bat as long as you can. It'll hopefully get the lead and then make a change here. But if you're not playing catch, you're not going to win games. It's just not going to happen. And the one, what was it, a week ago, where he missed the 2 double play balls, the one that was just, routine. It could not have been any easier. And then the second one was, I was on our No Filter Network podcast, Juices Wild, with Will Clark last week live when this was happening. And it was actually, the feed that was just off. And so even though when you look at it, you're like, well, it didn't look that bad. He seemed to do everything right. When you're playing the middle infield, you have to be a perfectionist. And so when you're a great athlete like Luciano, and there's it seems to me a lot of moving parts, I'm just not sure if he's cut out for it, and that's okay. There's so many really good infielders that have gone out to the outfield and had incredibly successful careers, right? Like a Mookie Betts, and then now he's back playing shortstop. So I just think, Fernando Tatis Jr. is another one that I think of who he had some, really difficult throwing troubles. And then eventually, he had the whole PED thing, whatever. And then they signed, Xander Bogaerts, and then that was a permanent move. And now he's a Gold Glove right fielder. So it's not necessarily always a terrible thing either.
Eric Byrnes with us here on Willard and Dibs, 95.7 The Game. Byrnesy, I get everything you said there. My question is, why have they not tried that yet? If you hear from every scout, I don't know if he's going to project like a shortstop, and then he looks like this after playing shortstop in the system for 4 or 5 years, why have they not tried that yet?
Mark, I would love to tell you I have the answer, but I don't. I mean, this is one of those things that it starts from the top down, right? This would be Farhan saying enough's enough. You pull the plug and you go to the farm director. I'm sure, Will and I have talked about it. I know he's in San Francisco this week. I don't. He said he was going to talk to the big Marine, Matty Williams, just about Luciano and the defense and everything else. But it's one of those things. I just brought it up to him last week again, on our podcast. And I'm like, dude, why are we trying to force this? This game's really, really hard. And when you bring a young kid up to the big leagues, and it's already hard enough just trying to hit the ball. And ironically, it doesn't shock me that he's swinging the bat well, because he's so goddamn stressed out on defense when he's out there that when he gets in the batter's box, it's like this relief of thank goodness I'm finally at home and comfortable in a spot where I can just play, where the dude's in his own head from a defensive perspective. And it's hard. Defense isn't easy, and ultimately it's your job as an organization to put your players in the best position to succeed. That's it. But I have whole confidence in the staff that they have there right now. I love the changes they made this offseason. They have a lot of real good baseball people around. And eventually, I would be shocked if the move isn't made in the near future. If you can play shortstop, you can play anywhere. That's the other thing. You play shortstop, you can play left field, play second, play third, play first, no problem. You basically do everything but catch and pitch.
Yeah. Do you think that adjustment can be made on the fly in the big leagues, or would he have to go down to Sacramento for 3 or 4 weeks and kind of reacclimate to playing a new position?
Dibs, this is 1 week of hitting fly balls to him in the outfield. Just get ready to go. That's it. A week. Early work. Let's go 30 minutes of straight fly balls. Hit him fungos, and then you pull out the jugs machine or whatever they say, and then you start firing sky-high fly balls. Higher than any big leaguer can hit. And then once he gets comfortable catching those, he's fine. It literally is I'd say a 7-day transition. And then it's taking, you really get to become, anyone can go out and catch a ball. But to be a great outfielder, the key to the key to it is essentially live batting practice. So a good thing to do is a lot of times teams will have the early BP, so to speak. So to go out there and take early reps off of the bat live and reading those. That's basically game situation, right? And so when you do that, that's how you get prepared. But no, I laugh at it because, again, I bring this back to our Let Them Play 12U team. I got 11 kids that I swear to you can play every position. Every position. No problem. Even the left used to play shortstop. No problem. And these kids love it. So I think too often we pigeonhole ourselves to this guy's a shortstop, or this guy's this guy's that. Well, guess what? If we have a kid at shortstop and he's not making plays at shortstop, you know what I do? I move him. Right? For the short term, give him a couple words of encouragement. Hey, you bet that's shortly, but you just keep moving them around. You figure out what works and what's best for the team.
Byrnesy, Blake Snell's ERA is over 10. He said after the game yesterday, yeah, it turns out I needed spring training. So what have we learned from all of this so far?
Look, I don't know Blake Snell's regimen. I don't know exactly what he did to prepare for the season. I thought that he would be going to, a junior college, a college, throwing live simulated games. And if that was the case, great. But the bottom line is, like, until you're throwing to live hitters in intense situations, intense games, and then, yeah, when you get to the big leagues, that's obviously going to be ramped up, but that's how you prepare for a season. I mean, that's you have to. That's why you have spring training, right? So to go into it without that spring training thinking, oh, yeah, everything's going to be normal, we'll see. He's Blake Snell. I mean, he should be fine, but, I haven't looked at the stuff metrics and if they're off and how far off they were to his Cy Young years. That's the thing that matters. And it was crazy that they have ways to quantify that now too.
Yeah, it's wild with all the advanced analytics with exit velocity and pitch tracking and all the rest of it. And I wonder if there's analytics on the play Matt Chapman made late last week at third base. Have you ever seen a better play on defense, Burnsy, than him running in, getting the bare hand in between hops and firing it across the diamond for the last out in the win?
He does it as well as anybody I've ever seen. And I had an opportunity a few years ago when he was still at the A's to go down in spring training. I felt like a couple hours with both him and Matt Olson. And we did an MLB Network special on these guys. And one of the things was at third base. And the thing that I noticed about Matt Chapman at third base is that this dude is ready for a ground ball like nobody I've ever seen. And if you watch him, he gets really, really wide, right? And he's on his toes, and he's in this ridiculous athletic position. And it's, I yell pre-pitch all the time, right, to the kids, pre-pitch. And that's the pre-pitch I'm talking about. When I say pre-pitch, and what do I mean by pre-pitch? I say, look at Matt Chapman. He's the definition of pre-pitch. And it's funny because you wonder why maybe more people don't do it like that. If he's the best of the best and he's doing it a certain way, why wouldn't you try that? So I love the way he preps before every single pitch, and he's one of the best third basemen, if not the best third baseman that we've seen in our lifetime. I mean, obviously it was Brooks Robinson is the one that we talks about all the time, and I didn't really get to see him play. We've seen a lot of good ones. Nolan Arenado, obviously being one of the best of the best, but Chappie's right up there.
Eric Byrnes with us here, Willard and Dibs, 95.7 The Game. Burns, do you think, now that we're getting a look at all this, are the Giants a good team? You expect this to be a playoff team?
I like the youthful exuberance that's going on right now. Because for a while they were just like, oh, man, this isn't good. But, yeah, I mean, it's look, when the staff is healthy and getting healthier, when the bullpen's firing, when you have the combo of the vets and the young guys, swinging the bat well, it's a playoff team. I mean, they're sitting in the playoffs right now. I don't think they play their best baseball. So do I think they're a good team for sure. Do I think they're a great team? No, not at all. I don't think they're in the upper echelon. I don't think they're not what the Baltimore Orioles are. They're not what the Dodgers are. I'd probably say they're not what the Braves are, but the Braves without Acuna, without Strider, you wonder what's going to happen to them and if those injuries are going to start taking a toll. But, yeah, they're a top-half team. They're a team that should get to the playoffs. And now I think the Giants fans will tell you, man, just get us in the dance. That's it. You guys get the dance, and you have a chance. And Bob Melvin's the type of manager that I won't be shocked to see pull 2010, 2012, 2014 run like Coach did and run the entire table. If you set the rotation up right and, you got Webb and then you have Snell. If he's able to throw the ball better, him being a Cy Young type pitcher, that could end up being the difference, right? I mean, if you have an ace like that, it's a game changer.
Burns, before we let you go, Angel Hernandez, gone too soon, right?
Dibs, I mean, for years, bro. This poor guy has been bashed and bashed and bashed and bashed and bashed and bashed. I don't know Angel at all, other than having him obviously umpire my games. I always kept my distance from umpires. I never wanted to get too close. I never, I very rarely ever would argue anything. Even if it was a terrible call, I just kind of put my head down, and I just knew I couldn't change it, right? But it's amazing the hate in the world for this guy. And maybe hate's a strong word.
No, it's right.
But
it's right.
Yeah, it is. It's been tough to watch, and I don't know how everything went down, but the last time he upped a game was 3 weeks ago, and then now he's retiring, and there was a lawsuit against MLB. Angel, good on Angel doing Angel. Fantastic career. Wish you the best in retirement, and hopefully, all due respect, we see the robots take over here shortly.
Yeah, that's going to be a conversation for a different day, but yeah, it's coming. It's definitely coming. Byrnesy, great to have you, man. Thank you so much.
Mark.